Alrighty. Dan and Shay have released their fourth full-length studio album, Good Things, and it's time to talk about it. Dan and Shay are a self-proclaimed country duo that really burst into superstardom with their smash hit single Tequila a few years ago, which was followed up by an even bigger hit in Speechless. The reason I say self-proclaimed is because, well, their music is labeled as country, but anyone with a functioning set of ears would know this is not country music. Specifically, this new album is probably the duo's least country record they've put out to date. This is an easy listening, unapologetically pop album through and through, and though there's nothing wrong with it, it's just worth noting because at this point I'm done trying to argue why the whole genre situation annoys me. I just don't want pop music taking all of the country music awards and attention, which I think is a fair point. Also, quick disclaimer, there's some people working on my roof right now, so if you hear any background noise, that's why. But overall, I actually enjoyed this record a lot more than I was expecting. From the pre-releases like 10,000 Hours and Glad You Exist, I was expecting to be pulling my hair out by the end of it, but rather I enjoyed it while it was playing, but as soon as it was over, I sort of just moved on to whatever was next on the queue. So while production-wise this thing was a lot more pleasant and enjoyable than I was ready for, it just fails to leave any sort of impact, be it positive or negative. It really is background music, that's the best way I can describe it. Because lyrically, there's so little to actually dissect, I often find myself completely zoning out while listening to this album because there were no moments that made me pause and think about what I had just heard. Which I guess really shows just how shopping mall background this music is. Even when deliberately focusing on the music and what it's offering, I subconsciously stopped paying attention due to just nothing regaining my attention as soon as I lost it. Again, maybe that's the goal of this album, to just be easy listening, music that gets played a lot, in which case they succeeded, but I just don't think the duo is giving themselves much to build on from there. You're not going to get a dedicated fan base through music that goes in one ear and out the other, because even sonically, this album, though enjoyable, isn't offering anything you can't find in a more interesting way somewhere else. Take, for example, Body Language, which just sounds like a Loaf song he forgot to release in 2017. Or Given to You, which sounds like a cover of a Dean Lewis song, only it's not. Let Me Get Over Her also, despite being one of my favorite songs on this record with all the gorgeous string sections and builds, does feel eerily derivative of any Rascal Flatts song to the point where if I wasn't able to distinguish who was singing because even the vocals are similar, I would probably think this is a Rascal Flatts song. I just think the duo took down the foundation they had built on prior records. Not that they were ever known as anything terribly unique, but they sort of were building a distinct sound and style, whereas on this record it feels like they just threw it all out the window and just copied numerous different branches of today's pop world. It's just musically so derivative and lyrically so bland, the group miserably fails to leave their artistic fingerprint on anything really. It's like they're trying to be other successful artists rather than becoming their own, which they were back in 2018 with the previously mentioned singles like Speechless and Tequila, which only makes this shift to background pop even more confusing. At this point, I just don't even know what Dan and Shay's sound is, which makes it hard to talk about and review, because as soon as they do something well, they just change gears on the next track by copying another artist's style and slapping the same mass-appealing vanilla lyrics over top of it. However, with all of that said, despite the blatant lack of creativity, I think I'm getting a little too harsh because, like I said, it's still an enjoyable listen. Despite being derivative, songs like Body Language, Given to You, Steal My Love are all easy listens that are very pleasing on the ears. Smooth mixes with Shay's vocals that never let you down. Let Me Get Over Her, as I said earlier, really is a production powerhouse with these monstrous string sections that are genuinely quite moving. The hook of Lying definitely makes me want to pull my hair out, but everything else about that song is great. It's one of the more intricate instrumentals with the pianos and banjos. The bridge provides a colorful instrumental plot twist. If they change the hook and remove the constant skittering snare, this would be, and still is, a phenomenally produced song. Songs like Irresponsible, You, and One Direction I don't really care for, even though there's nothing offensively bad. They just don't sit as well with me, although I will say that the first verse of One Direction is one of the only moments on this record where I found myself enjoying the songwriting, even if it was only for a single verse. Just that little bit of imagery was nice. I Should Probably Go to Bed is still probably my favorite Dan and Shay song to date. The way they morphed the dubstep elements with the powerful techno-pop balladry, it came together in a really cinematic and satisfying way. Previous to this record's release, I would have said this is the best example of what Dan and Shay have been going for as they trend poppier and poppier, but after hearing this album, as I said, I don't even know what Dan and Shay are going for anymore. So, yeah, I'm going to begin cutting myself off there. I could go on for a long time about this album and different moments I liked or didn't like, but at the end of the day, I think I've summarized my point of view. It's at times painfully derivative, often painfully bland in the songwriting department, but at no point other than glad you exist am I sat there openly disliking what I'm hearing. I actually enjoyed most of it from a peaceful musical standpoint. At the end of the day, it's enjoyable music. It's nice to have on around the kitchen, but that's it. There's no deeper levels to this album that make me want to come back to good things specifically. You can just find a positive vibe playlist on Spotify and satisfy the exact same craving. So on one hand, I was pleased with the musical quality and enjoyability of this record. I was just quite surprised at the lack of creativity and artistic distinction missing all over this thing. Yeah, I honestly don't know what else to say unless I just begin repeating myself. But I did ask you guys on my Instagram, which you can follow at Overshore, what you guys thought of this album, because I'm genuinely curious, because, I don't know, for something so mishmash as this album, it's almost hard to pull my thoughts together, so I was interested for some of yours and what you guys thought. Nathan said, I enjoyed it, a few songs I don't really care for, a little repetitive on subject but not bad, 7.5 out of 10. Nick said, cookie cutter Dan and Shay, it's alright for a pop country album, but it mostly all blends together. James Garcia says, not good, not bad, just kind of bleh, there's no real substance, One Direction kind of slaps though. This is pretty similar to where I stand as well. Bill said, not a Dan and Shay fan, didn't like. Aaron said, haven't listened, won't listen. A lot of people said they just haven't listened and don't plan to. So yeah, I forgot to give my rating. Rating wise, I think I'm gonna give this album a 5 on the dot. It's not bad, but it's nothing special. I'm just indifferent, I guess is the word I've been looking for this whole review. So that's all I've got for you guys today. Please do comment what you thought of this album in the comments below. Like I said, this is an album I'm specifically interested to hear your thoughts on because mine are so scattered and fuzzy. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like, and if you're new, maybe consider subscribing for more country music content. Links to my Instagram, Discord, and podcast are in the description below. Be sure to check all those out. If it isn't out by the time this review is, there are 2 new episodes of the podcast that will be released quite close to each other to make up for the brief hiatus, so look forward to that. And yeah, until next time, have a great day.